about a year ago today, I sold my soul to GW. My brother has been playing Warhammer since 5th edition, and he's been terribly invested in the lore ever since he started playing, but the problem is, not many people he knows is as invested in that lore as he is. So he can only info dump on the people willing to listen. Unfortunately, one of those people is me. That went on for several years until about last year, where I was just sitting in bed minding my own business and suddenly decided that he needed Warhammer memes that night. I don't know what brought it upon me, but it was the incorrect decision. So I went searching for memes. This is the first time I had ever done this, and as I was looking at them, I realized, I understand some of these. But I don't understand all of them. And that's where the problem came, because I needed to understand them. So about 3 hours later, after reading a fuck ton of Lexicon articles, I realized I hadn't sent my brother any of the memes I was going to send him. So I just spammed them all to him in my normal demure. So after several hours of browsing through the Lexiconum just to understand a couple of memes, I realized I hadn't sent anything to my brother at all. So in my very normal fashion, I sent all of them to him at once. And I got back the very logical response of, why? And I responded with, I explained to him that I had spent several hours reading the Lexiconum and I had totally meant to send these at a reasonable hour. And he was like, I could feel the smug look on the other side of the phone because he knew he drugged someone else into hell with him finally. And how did I know this? Because come Christmas morn, my brother comes in with 4 Warhammer books in hand, puts them in my hands and says, you might as well start reading these. And you know what? I did. I did start reading them. So that kind of led into a year-long spiral of going further and further down the Warhammer hole. You know, I started my own army, played a couple of video games, and read 9 books in 1 year. Which I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. Those are rookie numbers, and you're absolutely right. The only reason I didn't read more than 9 Warhammer books this year is because I transferred colleges and had to read 12 books in my first quarter. That was the only thing stopping me. My Kindle tells me that I could read one of these books in 5 hours, and I absolutely could. I have, and I will do it again. I'm a little bit unwell when it comes to reading. This is a normal thing, though. This is a very normal thing for me. Hold on. This is going to be cringe. When I was a child, I would go to Barnes & Noble. I would go to the kids section and I would pay $9 for one of these bad boys here. Which is about, let me see here, about 300-ish, 250 to 300 pages long, which is about what your average Warhammer book can be. And I would get home at around 2, sit down, and then suddenly it was 8 p.m. and I was done with the book. That's just how it rolls, okay? That's how I live. What am I getting at with all of this? My point of this whole situation is that I've decided that I'm going to spare my brother my insane ramblings and finally just kind of blog on this YouTube channel about all the Warhammer books I've read. Because if there's one thing I can do, it's yap about literature. That is pretty much my entire major at this point. I am going to be talking about what I think of these books from a reading standpoint, a writing standpoint, and unfortunately, an academic standpoint. And I know what you're saying. Warhammer is silly. It's goofy. Why would I think about it in any sort of academic standing at all? And my answer to that question is I physically can't read a book like a normal person anymore. No matter what I do, I read Warhammer with some sort of academic tinge to it. I'm always looking for symbolism. I'm always looking for connections because I hate myself, I guess. And I'm just wired that way now. I have no choice but to read like this. So I'm going to make everyone around me suffer for it. And you know, honestly, this is payback because Warhammer has ruined my ability to read medieval literature. I was so mad. Where's this stupid fucking book? Where is it? No. This stupid fucking book. You see this? You see this? This is classic, terrible medieval literature. And I was sitting here reading this, minding my own goddamn business, when suddenly it hit me. My first instance of Warhammer breaking containment. I was reading, and they talked about the Roman Emperor Titus, and where I should have listed a, fucking actual Roman emperor. Instead, I'm fucking thinking of Demetrian Titus from Space Marine 2. What is happening? And then his dad's name is Vespasius, and suddenly I'm thinking of Fulgrim. flashbang be upon my soul. I read about the Crusades, and instead of a normal fucking Crusader, like just a regular Templar, I thought of the Black Templars. Do you know how upsetting this was for me? I was so upset. This is a very serious book. I'm supposed to think seriously. I fucking dropped it. It's a very serious book. I'm supposed to be thinking seriously about it. Instead, I'm seeing fucking Black Templars when I read these pages. So really, truly, this is just payback to everyone else for my suffering. You all have to suffer with me. But really what it is I figured that if there's one thing that could happen, it's that at least on the internet, you can press the funny little X button at the top of this video to close out my yapping, whereas in real life, if my brother is just minding his own business and I decide to go downstairs to talk to him, he can't escape. So I'm trying to spare him some of my energy and just release it on this little blog that I'm starting, apparently. So yeah, you guys can have fun with that. If you decide to stick around, welcome. I'm fucking insane, and I hope you have a good time.